This is the era of voluntary male silence. Men between the ages of 35 and 66 are making a decision that shocks the system, confuses women, and scares their friends. They choose loneliness not for lack of options, but for wisdom, not for trauma, but for lucidity. They understood a simple but brutal truth. Being calm inside is worth much more than being with Sumione, who brings problems, fatigue, or makes you forget who you are after years of giving everything, gunned, trying to make happy. A world that always asks for more and gives little in return. They found something great. Being at peace is the most valuable thing they can have. They realized the other side of the story. Long marriages that leave you exhausted. Relationships that give Orengi other sto feel good. Listen, friend, a woman's affection is not forever. It depends on what you can give her, how they see you, what you bring to the table. It is not like the love of a mother who does no task for anything. Understanding this, many grown men decided not to continue in a game where they are ways. They prefer to get up alone, drink their coffee in peace, do what they like, go on a trip, take care of their body and mind without having to change their peace to be with someone. That, friends, is something profound, like living well with little, being happy alone instead of forcing being with someone. Think for a second. How many times have you seen a simple older man with calm eyes, thoughtful words, and a routine Clara living alone but happy? That man caught him. He is not angry. He does not hold grudges against women. He only knows that peace is what makes a good life, and if something breaks, it, like a woman woe, is not well friends who hurt or endless parties that do not fill up. It is not worth it, because peace cannot be bought. It is earned, and you are going to exchange your peace for a little affection, or you are going to be a man who is enough. Only who knows who he is, and does not he needs to be proven to be okay. Being alone by decisionness, not being empty, it is being strong, and the men who choose this are not losers. They are the ones who rule in their lives. How many do you know? Are you going down that path, or are you still lost trying to make everyone happy? Of course, it's not bitterness, it's freedom. And you know why this annoys so many, because we have been made to believe that a man is only worth it if he is helping someone, whether it is a woman, a family, a job, or the people around us. We have always been told that men have to take care, protect, and keep quiet, but when this man wakes up, when he says enough to seek acceptance and starts to live, Ash wants it, becomes a problem. Not because he does harm, but because he no longer needs anyone. That freedom scares, because it shows how empty many lives are that need others to tell them that they matter, and the free man who is truly free does not have to prove anything. He does not shout, he does not boast, he does not explain himself, he just lives, and that bothers those who are still trapped thinking about how things should. He is not bitter, he chooses carefully, he does not hate women. He just lives, he looks at it beyond wet. He feels, he doesn't move away, he decides who stays close. The majority doesn't understand it because they think that or be silent is to be alone, that to decide for you is to believe you more than to see clearly is to be cold. But the truth is that the man who learns to be alone learns to have it all, knows how to manage his time, his head, his body, his money, and more than anything, what he feels does not need to be distracted to feel alive. He just needs to know where he is going. But let me ask you something direct. What is harder, to live with someone who always takes away your peace, or to learn to be okay with your own silence? Many men flee from silence because they can't stand to listen to their mistakes or what weighs on them. But these men between 35 and 66 years old, who now live alone, heard that noise and saw themselves face to face without hiding anything. And that made them free, because in the end, a man's freedom begins when he stops looking for bits of affection and builds his own happiness. He wants to be free, so he stops looking for being okay in places that fail you. Being free as a man is not reaching a place. It is standing firm and saying, I choose myself every day. How many have the courage for that? Do you have it, or do you keep giving up Baycoast? You want them to love you, accept you, see you. This is the time to decide to stay trapped in what they expect from you, or be the owner of what you are. It is not only about not getting bored alone, but about becoming a complete man, and a complete man because no one commands him. He does not go around grabbing leftovers of affection because he already knows shat. It is worth to be calm, be at peace, to have his own strength. He has seen what it is to give everything, and Tobe given almost nothing. Have you ever felt what it is to put time, affection, attention, and loyalty only Tobe voted for when he gets tired, or you are of no use to him? This man understood that works do not fulfill that affection that changes depending on how you are. It is not loving, it is a deal, and respect for a really begins when you stop begging someone who doesn't bother you before. When he needed others to make him feel good, he took whatever half answers, empty promises, people who are there but aren't there, but now he's in charge because he knows that he doesn't have to go around asking for affection, attention, or company. If us going to be with someone who is whole, that's worth it if he doesn't prefer anything, because nothing is better than an almost. That's why many men, when they get here, cut off things that before seemed like all friends that no longer hinder relationships, that they only ask bitches who are always testing you, and they sato that game of looking for something better. You want more. I don't sell myself because I'm not alone, and that, buddy, is pure strength. That's knowing who you are. This is a man who became like a firm rock. Quiet. You don't move him, and you know what the craziest thing is when this man stops grabbing leftovers. Everyone wants to make him believe that he has to go back to how he was. You need someone. You closed off a lot. You're cold, but bottom line is that he's not cold. He's choosing well. He's not alone. He's calm. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He only asks for what he deserves, and that sucks, because it shows that you can live cool without needing anyone. Now tell me, right? How many times have you grabbed less than what you are worth just to not be left alone? How many times have you kept who you are so as not to lose someone who only tires you? And until when are you going to continue like this? A man who learns to be alone no longer changes his calm for nothing. He only hangs out with someone who really puts something into it, but leaves because when he discovers the coolness of silence, he understands that any noise that is not useful is a blow to his path, and move forward as a man is not negotiable. Imagine a friend who was married for 20 years, getting up every day to meet everyone, working like crazy, bringing wool, hearing complaints, settling other people's quarrels except his own. One day he separates him. Instead of running for another girl, he sits in his living room with a coffee. He looks out the window and thinks, finally, I don't owe anything to anyone. First he gets scared, but then he feels something new. He needs people to shout at him, ask them to demand that calmness changes everything. Auric thinks about that friend who was always in a hurry, jumping from one to another as if it were a race. Every time they cut, he went crazy trying to find another, until one day he said he no longer began to enjoy his mornings. Just to exercise without rushing, to travel wherever he wanted without fighting where, and suddenly fights stopped being a relaxation of fights and dramas to be a place where he commands that calm. You don't buy it cheaply. A friend doesn't give it to you. You do it little by little, saying no to what takes it away from you. And how close are you to that calm? Do you keep running after someone to tell you that you're worth it? Or have you already understood that calm is the prize of whoever comes first? Think about that guy you know who lives alone in a simple apartment with few things but everything in its place. One day you see him and he's reading something heavy, like a story or deep ideas, and he tells you that he went alone to a lost town. No. He goes around showing off. He lives alone. His frenzy, it's strange. He closed himself off, but he's not calm, and that calmness makes him stronger than many who they are looking for someone to see them. Have you already felt that, or do you still think that without someone you are nothing? Lesson 2. Being alone is freedom, not punishment. Yes, this is the change that no one expected. The loneliness that they always painted as something ugly is now something that you choose with. It is only incomplete, pure pulls. The incomplete is the one who is not calm, the one who has people, but inside is scrubbed thebig. Men have now understood that being alone is not being empty. It is being whole, being alone at Isio. Time, your decisions, your place, and above all, it is not going around with blackmail of feeling scrosy requests or games that suck your strength. Day after day, loneliness became freedom because Ithi chose it. It's like saying no to a system that makes you feel bad for not being in the usual mess, and you have to clarify something. The man who chooses to be alone does not hide. He takes care of himself. He protects himself from the relaxation of what is not worth it, from people who do not give you anything back. Because he understood something that many do not see, that there are many people out there, does not mean that it is worth getting together. Most of today's connections, they are pure show, pure interest, pure time, and now he says it's not going to go beyond that, and you have started to think about how much it is worth being with yourself. You can spend a Friday night alone without feeling screwed. You can look in the mirror and feel cool with what you have done without needing a girl next to you to feel like someone, because the man who chooses to be alone is not denying himself action. He is loving himself. He does not turn his back on the world. He puts himself first, and that is not seen much. That is strength. This is a change without noise. What was sad before is now respected. This man does not hide. Lee exercises, uses his wool in something he grows. He sleeps peacefully and wakes up with enthusiasm, and if one day he wants to share his life with someone, he does it because he wants to, not because he lacks. Just lets in those who add up, because he knows how to be alone, and he who knows how to be alone does not sell himself for company. Chose to be alone, and that made him the freest of all. Imagine that friend you know who lives in a small apartment with few things, but everything is in order. He does not have a TV making noise. He does not have a cell phone full of empty chats. He gets up early. He makes his coffee. He goes out for a run. He comes back and grabs a book that blows your mind sometimes. He goes alone on a trip to a lost town or a mountain, and when Hung comes back, he is not there uploading photos so that they can see him. He just follows his behavior. His friends say he's strange. He moved away, but he didn't move away. He let go. He doesn't need a girl to tell him he's cool. He doesn't need a group to pull him out to feel alive. He's alone, but it's not because he's punished. He's alone because he wanted to, because he saw that in that solitude there is more life than in the nights at the club or on dates that go nowhere. Or think about that guy from work who stopped going to the parties before. He was in everyone, always smiling, always lending a hand. But one day he stopped going, and when you ask him, he says, "It's better, I'll stay at home. I'm fine." He's not sad, he's calm. He started painting, playing guitar, learning something new, and when you see him, he has a look in his eyes that doesn't explain. But you understand, he's at peace. You don't find that freedom in a relationship that asks for more than it gives you, or in friends who only look for you and They want something, you enter it when you decide that being with yourself is not a fight. It's a gift. And when was the last time you were alone and you didn't feel bad, do you? You still think that being alone is losing, or have you already seen what is really winning? Imagine that man who lives in a small house alone. You always see him mowing the grass or reading on his porch. He doesn't hang out with anyone, but he always has a calm smile. One day you talk to him and he tells you that he left a marriage that had him in trouble and now he lives for him. He doesn't look for girls. He doesn't hang out in groups. But he is more alive than many who run for company. They help you. This says everything as it is right now. Relationships ask for a splash. They give you little and they charge you dearly, especially from men. Especially if they are ready. You understand how the game is. What before seemed like a team is now a deal where the man almost always loses. Putting strength for the soul and wool support for the head, stability, and in exchange they give him crumbs of loyalty. If there is one, and yet they are testing him by judging and blaming him for anything, for keeping quiet, for wanting a break today. Many relationships are based on crazy ideas. To the girls of now, they have been told that they deserve everything just for being there, while men have to show all the time that they are worth something. You have to be loving, always be ready, be strong, and always have your head in order. If you fail once, they throw you out. And what happens? Everything's crooked. The roles don't add up, and the wear and tear of being with someone is often a weight that you don't lift. Think about it with me. How many friends do you know who are with girls who make them less bet? They stay for fear of being left alone. How many endure betrayals that hurt? Lack of respect, coldness, strange games, and still keep trying to prove that they are good. That's why the man who already woke up, he takes better care of himself. He no longer gets into any relationship because he knows that not only does he risk his life, he also risks his calm, his life itself. What you risk is your peace, your head, what you are. The man who already understood knows that if you are going to be with someone, it has to be worth it. It has to be with a girl what admires you, respects you, understands your path, and doesn't see you as something that needs to be changed. And that, my friend, is not easy to find, because a lot of people try to move up, not walk with you, and when you no longer serve them, you become invisible. That's why so many people today, they prefer to be alone. It is the only place where you do not have to pay with your calm for a little affection, and you have realized that many relationships are traps dressed in love. You have thought about how much it costs you to be with Simeon, who asks for more than he gives, who tires you more than he lifts you up. A game where the man always puts in everything and still they pay him the bill if he complains. Relationships, Todia, not a rest, they are a ring, and the man who does not see it enters to fight without knowing that he has already lost. Choose well, and if you are going to be with someone who is worth the same as you give, because you were not born to be anyone's helper, you were born to live your life. Imagine that friend who has been with us, girl, for 10 years, always fighting, always giving in, always spending his strength to calm her down, to make her happy. Anja is never happy. One day, she tells you that she doesn't remember when she had a weekend for him. Thought everything is lawsuits, demands, mood swings, is messed up, but she continues because what do I do alone? Or that other one who married young, had children, and now lives to pay and hear criticism without a thank you, without a break. Her life is giving, and if she asks for something for him, they call her selfish. That is not wanting. No. She thinks about the guy who left that behind. He's separated or never married and lives alone in Aquiot house. No, he asks for permission to watch a movie. It doesn't justify. Because he arrived late, he doesn't turn off his dream stove, fit in with others Who is freer? Today's relationships sell you a cool story, but many times they are a deal where you give everything and they give you little, and these men saw it, of course. If there is no balance, if there is no respect on both sides, they prefer their calm to that war disguised as love. And you continue paying that price, or you already saw that it is not worth it. Think about that friend who separates after years of holding on. Everyone believed that he was going to sink, but he did not start living alone, doing what he likes, and now you see him calmer than ever. Who won their lesson for living calmly makes you the boss of yourself. They didn't leave the world, they just woke up, and that awakening they confuse with cracking, with fear, with locking themselves in, but it's the other way around. They didn't crack, they let go. They didn't leave everything, they just stopped playing in a system that uses them in the soul, the head, and many times the worthless men don't keep quiet because they are scrubbed. They keep quiet because they learned that real strength doesn't make noise. It's quiet, wait for your moment. No longer they hang out in clubs, malls, encampments, or on social networks, wanting to be seen. They no longer fight for attention. They no longer give affection to others, those who only criticize them. These men understood that the current system is not made so that they are well inside. It is made so that they serve. They remain silent and leave without a word. But no, they know it, and the one who knows does not return to being a fool. This new man is the one who has learned to live calmly. He no longer reacts as before. Look, think, choose. Do not fight with those who are not worth it. Do not spend where they give you nothing. Do not burn with promises of affection that last as long as you serve them. Always something better is nature than the affection of a girl has conditions. That finding someone who gives you the same thing that you give is not normal, and that is why he takes care of himself. He separates himself, he protects himself, but be careful, he is still here. He keeps doing, working, thinking, commanding it own thing. He is silent, but seeing. He is calm, but ready. He does not walk in the usual relaxation, but he is where it matters on his own path, because he understood that the only change that is worth it is the one within. That only good fight is against your own roles, your failures, your stories. You still believe that these men are gone. Look closely. They are in books, at the gym, on roads, in quiet moments, thinking about traveling, alone on business, on cold mornings, setting up their small but firm world. They are making the coolest, the version of themselves, far from the spotlight, far from the likes, far from being and you are asleep, or have you already started to wake up because the world is not going to warn you? Do you grab it now, or are you still a slave of the heart disguised as a lost romantic? The question is, are you going to join these men, or are you going to continue believing in promises of a system that will never bother you? Living calmly gave them something very cool to handle what they can. Their decisions are how they deal with whatever comes. Think about a guy who was previously dying for a girl, checked him off, and he sank. He spent nights thinking what he did wrong, begging her to come back, looking for him to accept it. Now with that calm, things happen differently. She leaves. He takes a deep breath. He says, "Okay, I didn't order that," and he goes on with his day. He doesn't fall, no. He looks for another one to cover the gap. I don't know. He gets desperate. He goes to the gym. He reads a book. He works on something of his own, because he understood that what matters is how he leads his mind, not what does. Imagine that friend who had friends who only sought him out for favors. Before, he killed himself to help them to look good so as not to lose them. Now with that peace, he sees them coming and says, if there is no respect on both sides, there is no place here. He doesn't fight, he doesn't shout, he just lets them go and continues their thing. Puppet for every feeling, a reverie rejection. These men are not cold, they are focused. They are not alone because of hatred. They are alone because they want to, and that decision makes them strong, because while others spend themselves on dramas, they put together their life, bit by bit, with the calm of someone who knows that they do not need anyone to be well-end. You are still trapped in quick reactions, or have you already started to command what you can think about that guy who stopped going out so much before you saw him everywhere? Now you find him walking alone with a calm face. He tells you that he prefers to stay at home reading or doing something for him, and you see him more whole than ever. Who is better off, he or those who continue running for attentionless? And 5, doing things well takes away the need for you. Men between 35 and 66 years old are fed up, but not with the body. It is a soul's fed up with so much pretending to play a role that they have no choice but to smile while they keep everything from pretending that they need someone to feel a live good. Before they were husbands who brought the wool heroes in their home, the support of everyone 1,000 times. They were told that a real man does that, that a cool man is the one who cares, and what did they give them? In return, silence, pressure to be seen with less criticism. These men are not closed, they do not hate affection, they are not stuck inside, they just got fed up with carrying relationships while they treated them as if they did not matter. They are tired of proving that they deserve to be loved, tired of being cold when they first get tired of a role that only helps the other side. The bottom line is that they no longer need to pretend. They don't need anyone to feel alive. They don't need Samionetto tell them why they are here. The man between 35 and 66 years old who woke up understood that the more you give for someone, the less they see you. The more you are there, the more they vote for you. The clearer you are, the more they use you. Then he closed the door. He stopped begging honey. He stopped making himself less. He stopped grabbing leftovers, and the biggest thing, he stopped pretending that he needs a girl to be happy. He learned to be enough. He learned that real power is in not needing anyone to decide freely to handle yourself. And this man, now he lives seriously. He has time for himself. He gets into his own things. He has the strength for what he wants. He gets up without owing anything to anyone. He sleeps without fights. He lives with desire, and not because he has to do it. If he wants to, if he wants to be with someone he is, but never because he lacks Bakaza, needs to be weak, and he got too strong to go back to that compa. What are you hearing this right now? How many times have you acted like everything is fine just to not lose a relationship? How many times have you kept quiet about what you think so that they don't call you selfish? Until when are you going to carry a piece of paper that you get tired just so that they can see you as a good man? It's time to stop looking inside yourself. Understand that needing someone is the biggest mistake that they sold you. The free man does not need choose, and when he chooses, it is because he has plenty, never because he is lacking. This is the new way of thinking. This is the new man, and he no longer pretends. Imagine that guy who spent years being the perfect husband, got up at 6, he worked 10 hours, he came to hear problems, to fix what he did not give. In always, he never had a day for himself. He never said, I need a break, because they told him thought I was being selfish. One day, it all ends. And instead of look for another girl, you start exercising, cooking for him, enjoying Saturday with nothing. At first he feels guilty, but then he realizes this is better than any fight, or he thinks About the guy who always had noisy friends always at parties, always spending strength on looking good one day. He gets fed up, erases numbers, he stays alone, and uses that time to learn something, to save on growing up. Doing things well saves him. He changes nights of relaxation for mornings of exercise, the empty talks for books that open his mind, and suddenly he doesn't need anyone to feeling alive, because doing things well gave him what the company could never manage in his life. And you continue depending on others to fill your day, sir. You already started to set them up with your rules. Think about that friend who stopped going out with the band before he waste one, who set the mood. Now you see him alone, but with a peace that he does not explain. He tells you that he prefers to stay at home, and you see him stronger than ever. Who is better off? Who is better off, he or those who continue looking for someone to fill them? Lesson is true strength is not needing anyone. The man who does not need Moras or Campos is the scariest one, and you know why? Because no one orders him. He broke the chains of need. He left behind the worst defect that a man can have, depending on others to feel good. This man is scary because he does not bend for affection. He does not sell himself for company. He does not change his calm for applause. He is the type of man who enters a place and makes everyone nervous, not because he is bravo, but because he is free, and that freedom of a man today is something that changes everything. This man has already faceted ghosts that you perhaps avoid. He has already seen himself in the mirror. He cried alone in his room, went through rejection, abandonment, loneliness, and not only did he come out, but he grew up. He saw that the world does not end when he is alone. There it begins. He understood that forced companions are like a prison for the soul, that relationships based on interest are traps, and that true respect comes when you show that you can walk alone. Theritis, he put together, he doesn't stay. He doesn't accept friends by default. They could be from his childhood at the gym. If they are toxic, manipulative, or very empty, it's over, because he knows that he who is enough is not afraid of losing. And now I'm asking you directly, have you reached that level, or do you still think that you need a girl on your side to be someone? You still believe that you need friends to feel a part, to have a direction, so that they can see you. The strong man is the one who sees himself alone and feels himself whole, who eats alone and is calm, who trains alone and grows, who travels alone and finds himself not being closed, is knowing that everything you need is inside you, that what comes from outside is never something that you need, and that changes everything. Because while the normal man lives with fear, closing people, the one who let go lives in silence, building the connections that are worth. He chooses well because he knows shat. His time is worth his strength, his heart. This man does not bend. He does not ask to be seen. He does not play with feelings. He lives outside the game, and that is why he is scary, because no one bosses a man who goes alone. Have you already gotten there, or are you still waiting for someone to fill the gap that only you can fill? The freedom of being alone is priceless, and they know it. They feel it. They live it. Imagine that friend, Yakno, the one who stopped going out with the usual ones. Before, he was the king of the party, always laughing, always there for everyone. Now you see him walking alone on the street with headphones, a backpack, and a face that doesn't ask for anything. He's not sad, he's complete. He doesn't need to be invited, called, looked at. He lives for himself, and that's it. Does untouchable, or think about the guy who left his girl after years of ups and downs. Everyone thought he was going to break, but he didn't start running every morning to work on something of his, to travel without warning. When you ask him, he says, I'm fine, better than ever. No, he looks for another one. He doesn't cover the gap because he understood that there is no gap. He leaves That force makes him powerful because no one has a thread to move him, no one has a prize to tempt him. And you are stilted to someone completing you, or you already saw that the force of the truth is. You don't need anything from outside. Think about that guy who lives alone in a little ranch. You see him taking care of his plants, reading something, and as always calm. He tells you that he left behind a heavy past, and now he lives as he wants. He doesn't go looking for friends, but he's more alive than many who run for attention. You already felt that conclusion, and that's why they wouldn't change this calm for anything. Because being alone is not about missing something. It's about being the boss of yourself. It's the place where man finally hears himself, where he puts himself together without being distracted, where he discovers who he is. Really, without acting, without pleasing, without fitting in. The freedom of being alone is very sincere. It breaks you before it makes you strong. It leaves you empty before it fills you. But when you pass that, no one can reach you. These men between 35 and 66 years old who chose to be alone, they already lived the relaxation. They wore themselves out in relationships where they gave everything and they gave them little. They trusted friends who went to thy first problem. They were good, open, loving, and they betrayed them. They used them, they voted for them. But not today. Today they see that, and they give thanks, because in the pain, the silence, and by seeing themselves inside, they found the only thing that is worth it, themselves. And now that they have tasted this freedom, there is no return. You cannot makia. Free man believe that he returns to the prison of affection that changes. He does not bide his time with promise, blackmail, or games. He has already seen the other side. Have you ever felt what it is to sleep peacefully? Know that having time for yourself is worth more than a noisy company you have spent days without explaining how you are, without justifying where you are, without adapting to what others feel. That friend is freedom, and Huho lives. It will never live tied up again. These men, they don't hate girls, they just stopped sacrificing themselves. Space. They are accepted. They don't hate their friends, they just stopped insisting on empty connection. She didn't leave out of courage. They stood up because they understood, and now they live in another rhythm, another wave, another level of understanding. And that's what annoys so many, because the system doesn't know what to do with Armin, who no longer needs him. You who are listening know that you're alone. You felt how cool it is to walk down the street, knowing that you don't owe anything to anyone. Make your time, your customs, your goals. You've felt how strong it is to wake up and see that everything you have you made, and it only depends on you. That is true freedom, and it begins by being alone. Not because they force you, but because you want it. The men who know this do not change their calm for nothing. They live with few people, but they stick to what they are. They say little, but they see everything. They do not need the world, but if they want, they dominate it, and you are going to You're calm because they see you, or you are going to start building your own freedom. You always decide.